Welcome to a developing tropical storm Harvey via the Cayman Hurricane Center, and here's Adam with all the details.
Thank you very much, David. Yes, we are here again talking about Tropical Storm Harvey. I just want to make quickly a quick apology. Sorry for not being around recently. I had some issues to take care of, and now all sorted out, and we're here back again. And here we go. So here on your screen is the present satellite imagery of Harvey in the Gulf of Mexico, the system a threat for the U.S. Gulf Coast. To give you the particulars on Harvey, currently located at 22.6 north, 92.6 west, or about 465 miles south-southeast of Port O'Connor, Texas, or about 410 miles southeast of Port Mansfield, Texas. Maximum sustained winds are 45 miles per hour. Present movement is northwest or north at 7. Central pressure at now 1,001 millibars. And so you could definitely see the system starting to ramp up. A lot of deep convections, banding already starting to pick up here on this system. Let's have a little look back at the system's past before we go on to its future. But here we go. This is the previous track for Tropical Storm Harvey. So our storm formed out of a Cape Verde wave disturbance that came off of Africa, continued towards the west, developed here east of Barbados, then made its way towards Barbados and St. Vincent, continued on into the eastern and central Caribbean, weakened a bit, weakened down, still giving areas such as Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Honduras, Belize, and the Yucatan some sort of stormy weather. And then after making landfall in the Yucatan, crossing over into the northern Bay of Campeche, western Gulf of Mexico, and then since then sort of redeveloped, re-strengthened, and now again slightly stronger than what it was in the Caribbean, but here with a tropical storm. There are watches out at present. There is a storm surge watch in effect for Ports Mansfield to High Island. A hurricane watch is in effect for north of Port Mansfield to San Luis Pass. Tropical storm watch for Boca de Catan, Mexico to Port Mansfield, Texas, as well as north of San Luis Pass to High Island. I also want to point out that interest in Louisiana should also monitor the progress, as watches may be required for that area as well, and the watches maybe to be upgraded to warnings as we go through. So in terms of with all these watches and warnings for the system, here is the present forecast cone, and there has been a bit of shifting around with the cone for the long range, but the short range stays more or less somewhat on track. The situation is dynamic and quite fluid, and there's a lot of uncertainties on exactly how this thing will go. But General idea is that off towards the north or northwest or even northwest towards the state of Texas, where it will either make landfall or pass or stall close to the coast of Texas before either looping down to the south and then southeast, getting back over the Gulf of Mexico, and then towards possibly either eastern Texas or Louisiana, or turning either moving from Texas to Louisiana or stalling again off the coast and then heading towards Louisiana. Again, the situation is quite fluid, quite dynamic. There's a lot of uncertainties, but it'll have to be watched very closely by people in Texas, Louisiana, as well as even as far south as northern Mexico. The wind field for the system has expanded. The system is developing at a fairly decent rate. It is expected that this will bump up to hurricane before it makes landfall, and there is potential for some quick or rapid intensification in a couple days' time as it makes its approach. So it'll have to be something that will definitely need to be watched by those in Texas, Louisiana, and Mexico. Here is the 1 to 7 day rainfall forecast. This should be updated soon, but this is the one that was from 7 p.m. and as you can see, as much as 10 to nearly 15 inches for areas in coastal Texas, central East Texas, maybe creeping in towards Louisiana, and definitely a big rainfall maker this system will be, and flooding from rainfall as well as some storm heights may be an issue as well. We'll have to see how things play out. Again, very dynamic situation at hand. In terms of the winds, this is the earliest reasonable arrival of tropical storm force winds. As you can see, depending on where this thing exactly goes, say Louisiana to Texas, we're looking at early morning Friday. Maybe if it's further south towards Mexico, probably in the very early hours on Friday. We'll have to see how that plays out. But again, that's the earliest reasonable time of arrival for winds, but the most likely time of wind to arrive to these areas would likely be in the evening time on Friday, and then going into Saturday. Again, there's a lot that needs to go into this. We'll keep you updated on the situation as it unfolds. There are a lot of recon aircraft flying into the system and around this system to help provide better data for the forecast guidance and give us a better idea of how strong the storm will be and how far north or south the system will go, or should I say west or east the system will go. So again, we will keep you abreast of the situation. Here are the some of the forecast models. Certainly not all of them, but and this is a little bit on the old side. We're waiting for the updated runs to come through, but they have not come through yet. We will probably put up the new runs on the next update. But as you can see, a very odd situation to take place. Fairly simple for 24 to 48 hours, fairly simple, but beyond that point, this is where the models diverge, where the forecast confidence decreases, and the tracks really diverge. Again, you have the idea that the system will make its way towards land and either stall just on the coast or stall just as it passes the coast around here, and then we'd be looking at the system either looping either west and south and then east, or looping towards the northeast. And again, we'll have to watch this closely. If either way, we do expect this to likely give some problems for the state of Louisiana, not only obviously the state of Texas. And depending on how the situation, the forecast goes, it would also be issues for Mexico. Some of these models, again, they don't extend out very far, and if you were to see the ones that do curl up around, actually take it offshore and then head towards the state of Louisiana. So again, if that is the case, you know, once the system comes back off, more re-strengthening, more redevelopment, and maybe a stronger system. And with this, even though it may be starting to get land interaction, then it'll still be sort of on offshore and still maintaining itself as it heads towards the state. Again, unsure at the present time on exactly what, and I think it'll be another day or so before we get any sort of confidence in where this system will go. Just to point out here, here's the low-level vorticity for the system. Fairly decent, nice big area, fairly organized. Not much of an issue there. In terms of the wind shear, not that bad at all for the most part in its general direction. Shear remains on the low side. As point out, our systems here and whole entire area here is in favorable upper level winds to allow for further development. And so it'll be something, again, we'll be keeping a close eye on. There is also Invest Area 92L that is located off the coast of Florida that will eventually move its way through the portions of the eastern Gulf of Mexico and then go through Florida, re-emerge off the southeast coast of the U.S. Has the potential to develop somewhere within this area before it gets merged with a frontal system. So we could be dealing with two systems over the coming days. We'll have to wait and see. There is also another tropical wave that has come off of Africa. Has a decent amount of spin. It is quite large, however, and may take a while to get itself organized. But that is another system we're keeping an eye on. Tropical wave located this general area with a weak low pressure area attached to it. Not really expecting too much development off of this, as there is a little bit of dry Saharan dust that is covering the north side of the wave, also the side of the wave went below. So not really expecting too much in the way of development for that particular system, but there could be something with the wave that's coming off of Africa. Again, there's very little in terms of Saharan dust for that system. And it's something that we'll have to be watching over the coming days. Here is the surface chart of the area, just to give you spread and see where everything's at. And again, here is our tropical storm Harvey. Here is that new tropical wave, the tropical wave with a weak low, and also invest area 92L. So again, not expecting anything from this. 92L will be something to be watched. Obviously, Tropical Storm Harvey, something that will be needed to watch with both eyes, ears, and nose and mouth with Louisiana, Texas. You guys will need to keep a very close eye on that. And then for the Atlantic Basin in general, we'll need to be watching this wave out here. There's a few more waves over Africa that will need to be watched over the coming week or so as well. The current period that we're in does favor tropical development to occur, and we'll see what happens. But again, for the main lead for this update, Tropical Storm Harvey, as Harvey makes its way towards Texas and Mexico. Sorry, Texas and Louisiana. Again, another update will be coming in later today. Thanks for watching.